This is Otherlinlk, America. I give a conservative take about the world around me. Alright, so feedback is greatly important. Feel free to reach out to me. So, some of the audio platforms that I'm on Speaker, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, just to name a few. Alright, so this episode is centering around the song Sailing by Christopher Cross. I'm going to give my thoughts about the aspects of the song and its genre, and then end with some facts. Here we go. Alright, so my thoughts about Christopher Cross sailing. I think it's a beautiful interpretation by the aspects of how rewarding it is to be on the sea. Because, when you have the opportunities to go sailing or have the opportunities to go to the ocean, to the beach or so forth, it's very relaxing, and it gets a certain peace of mind to where you get a lot of tranquility out of it. And so Christopher Cross it's apropos because he's in the genre of soft rock, and it's funny as equated with yacht music. Because typically the kind of music that he produced is along the lines of songs you might play on a yacht, just mingling and relaxing and having a good time, good memories. It reminds me when I was growing up around the mid-90s here. It was very popular with retro commercials, particularly with music. And so in this one retro commercial, I'm recalling back to it, said there's a certain era that you get with soft classic pop rock music from the 70s, from the 80s, and all of that. It's laid back Sunday, let your hair down, just take a nice drive, just relax and take in the scenery and just appreciate and have a collective, cohesive understanding that life is really good. And so also there's shared memories that you have with friends, loved ones that will last a lifetime. And so music, this particular type of music is supposed to be the background and the story to it. And I do think that's really impactful with the aspects of music. They can be little time capsules of certain situations in people's lives. And then they can reflect upon it and think about it, when that song was playing, I remember I was here, I was doing this, I was doing that. And also the aspects of getting away, going somewhere, traveling, particularly by seafair, it's a unique experience to where it's really nice to take road trips, but it's something to be on the sea, on the water, looking at water, where you can relax and take in all of that scenery. It's quite nice. And so with all of that, let's get into the facts about the song Sailing by Christopher Cross. Here we go. Alright, here we go with Sailing. And of course, these facts will be presented for you in this episode. Alright, so I have actually taken amongst myself to go on to Songfacts. I find that Songfacts is a really good source as far as going in depth with finding information about music and artists and the reasons behind the inspiration and what have you. So here we go. So Sailing by Christopher Cross, which was a part of the 1980 album. It charted 48 in the UK and number 1 in the US. Alright, so the tranquil classic evokes sailing on the open seas, so leaving any troubles on the shore. And they also went into depth with Songfacts interviewing Christopher Cross and him telling his aspects of the song and its impact. So here we go. It says, I was just at home sitting in this cheap apartment, sitting at the table. I remember coming up with the verse and chorus, and the lyrics to the first verse of the chorus all came out. So these turnings, like Joni Mitchell used to say, they get you in a sort of trance. So all that came out all at once. It's not far down to paradise, so the chorus just came out. So I got and wandered around the apartment just thinking, wow, this is pretty freaking great. I just thought that's really cool. So then I sat down and had to try to come up with other stuff to make the rest of the song, but I thought I had something there, and it's quite interesting with the aspect too. So I think they researched that back. So behind the music is all of this is cultivating in my mind about Hall and Oates. So they said, they initially, when they would create music, that they would just go and ham out stuff and just night after night just hammering out tunes and then just figuring out what works, what sounds good, and then merging, and out of that, merging a song together out of what sounds good and what tonally feels good to the both of them. And that's quite interesting because if I'm not mistaken, Sarah was an inspiration of it because Daryl Hall, the woman he was in a relationship with at the time, was very implement in supporting the career and them and being there. And he was talking about how the song came to him and how they just find, and it's just I just find it quite fascinating how artists, real artists that create, songwriters and artists that create their music, how they just think they hear a melody and they change the verse to accompanying the melody, or it sounds good. It didn't sound good at that point. The melody range or the melodic range of it, and they come back to it and they say, oh, okay, well, I guess it works if I sing this song and then get somebody in from different points of view. It's just very fascinating to me. All right, so then it took about 2 years before I had to bridge that song because says, excuse me about that. It says, let me reread that. So it says, then it took about 2 years before I had a bridge to that song because of the model tuning thing. It gets pretty linear, and you've got to be very careful when it comes to that. So there are writers I won't mention whose songs can get kind of boring because everything's this way. So I knew I needed to lift the song out of that being just cookie cutter aspects, really, and the bridge and make the keys change. It took about 2 years before I came up with the bridge that changes all the keys to where it lifts, but it was a pretty special moment. Of Cross wrote the song about his memories sailing every summer with a friend in Texas. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Christopher Cross might at one point live in Austin, or he might still live there. And then, Austin is the capital of live music. So, it's quite, though, of course, they're going to have all kinds of musical talent wanting to live there. So Cross wrote this song about his memories, as I was saying, sailing with a friend in Texas. It became a paragon for yacht rock, a term used to define a form of easy listening music, as I was saying earlier, favored by the, as they say, rich, which is a good thing, not bad. It's one of those things where, it's your perspective about how you view things with the rich, and because a lot of people who are affluent and who really worked hard and everything, it's unfortunate there are people who have money who they don't really have the moral values to back it up. But most people who are successful and who are also rich, they are very ethical people, and they deserve the lapse of luxury. So why not? I don't know why that's got to be such a disdain thing in society. But each his own, and then I can understand from different points of views, because when you go internationally with the aspects of the affluent, it's unfortunate there are some people who they miss the point of the great impact that having wealth can bring to yourself, and also the enrichment of yourself and enrichment of others. But I can understand from that point of view. All right, so eventually yacht rock caught on with and spawned a cover band. So yacht rock revenue made up of 7 members who do it as a full-time job. So sailing is pretty much their free bird, and it has a powerful impact on the crowd. And so that song is especially smooth, and everything we do is pretty smooth, but then there's like a next level of smooth. So this is by Nicholas Zapatani. He's also a part of the band, Christopher Cross's band. So a lot of times you can create excitement by being not excited, and that song is the perfect example of that. All right, so on the Howard Stern show, which I'm not a fan of Howard Stern, and he, time really told about his sense of humor and himself. So Howard Stern radio show, Cross explained that sailing with his friend got him away from the trials and tribulations of being a teenager. So Cross said that if the guy had taken him bowling and he enjoyed it, the song probably would have been Bowling. So Michael Orteman, who was Cross's producer, also contributed keyboards and background vocals to the album. Orteman has worked on many hit songs he co-wrote. She Works Hard for the Money, and also helped with the production of We Are the World with Quincy Jones. All right, so Christopher Cross won 3 Grammy Awards for the song: Recording Record of the Year, Song of the Year, and Best Arrangement Accompanying Vocals. The following year, he won an Oscar for Best Song for the movie Author. And his second album, Another Page, was released in 1983. That album contained Think of Laura, which was his last top 40 hit. This was Christopher Cross' second single, with following the number 2 charting Ride Like the Wind, and Cross considers Sailing a complete song and one of the best he's written, but he never thought it would be a hit. Says, it was anything but smooth sailing for Christopher Cross in 2020, after he became one of the first celebrities to get the coronavirus. which he picked up in Mexico after performing in Mexico City on March 7th. Shortly before North America went into lockdown, Cross revealed his diagnosis on April 3rd, calling it the worst illness I have ever had. So in October, he said he contracted the rare neurological disorder called Guillain-Barré syndrome, which affects the speech, memory, and movement, likely as a result of the virus. And that's quite unfortunate. And, it's just something with the aspects of how devastating the, pandemic of the coronavirus has had on our society as we know it. And then the aspects of how you would think that, it would have been in the process of moving science and the thought process of health and then forward, instead a lot of things just went backwards and it was just chaos and destruction. All right, so I'd like to know what you all think. Feel free to reach out to me. So this reaches the end of the Harboring Light. Oh, before I wrap all this up, I want to also say a little bit extended aspects of the song when I first heard it. So the first aspects of me understanding this song is it's about 3 years old. And so this was back when I would watch... Hold on, baby. Hold on. This was back when I would watch the Fresh Prince. And so the whole reason why I was interested in watching the Fresh Prince is because of the character Carlton. I thought he was just... And then that was so rich about the aspects of growing up in the 90s. You have, a multitude of different colors of characters who are... you have the transition of... There are some characters that are a means to their ethnicity, screaming about it. But there's some that, hey, okay, I happen to be African American, I happen to be Asian, I happen to be whoever, and that's just who I am, but that's not the definitive notion of my personality. And Carlton was a really good example of that. He didn't care that people thought he was corny or whatever. He just was who he was. And so, and then, he got a lot of heat for that, crap for that, in the show. But eventually, everything settled the way it should. And he was very prosperous because of it. So anyway... I heard the song, he was listening to it, and I thought it was a unique song. In a way that everything is just the attention to detail. You can really tell that Christopher Cross and his band, they really did all they could to harmonize the aspects of making that song not only have the easement of appeasing the ears, but you also visually, from that point of view, can kind of feel yourself relaxing, and you can hear the wind in your hair and sailing, and as if you're there with them. And it's always a unique experience when songwriting can do that and take you to those places. All right, so tune in, turn up, and take care. Bye-bye for now.